Graham Shaw from SCS, an EMS company in England, and Michael Ford from Aegis. Welcome to the stage here at Prod17. Now, the circular economy is, I think, something that personally I feel is the development out of what we're seeing here a lot on the show floor, which is the smart factory. For me, it's sort of an extension of that. We're looking at a circular economy where we're producing products that are not just from cradle to grave, but beyond the grave and round again. So we're looking at recycling. Can you give me an idea of what you feel from your different perspectives of business, how real the circular economy in our industry is? Are we already involved in that circular economy? And is it the next thing really to look out for in Prod17 2020 it'll be, won't it? So Graham.
Okay, from my point of view, from the manufacturing element, we have a lot of new startup companies that want to get involved in the discussions and the manufacture of the product. But most of them do not consider what they can do to make their product more sustainable and how they can design it to be more friendly in the marketplace and how they can design it for upgrades rather than replacement. And it's a matter of education. Once we engage with them and have that discussion, it's a light bulb moment where they then start to think, yeah, well, perhaps it is a subject that we should be taking on board.
Yeah, I'd like to start out by saying I love the planet. It's great. It supports me really well. But we are actually dealing with two kind of critical problems here. The first one is that we're human, which is kind of a problem because, you know, we all like to buy the latest products. We're all striving toward the latest technologies. I want a whatever phone, 25, whatever the latest revision is. Is it better than 24? Probably not, but I want to show everybody that I've got the latest one. So it means that we are throwing away a lot of stuff that is actually perfectly usable. Is that something that's going to stop? Are we going to be able to legislate against that? No, because we're human, and also our economy is based on being able to provide new products. I mean, we want all of these people here to enjoy a good business future. We are striving to make more. So we are ending up with a situation where we are consumers. Who would have known? But we are consuming. So in that environment, with that as a given, what can we do, as you said, to design into products a way of making them become circular? So are there elements that can be reused, and not just at a recycling stage, but actually are there elements that can be really reused into a next product? And so this is a kind of decision or process that we need to go through to get to that next step.
So that's the education that you were talking about.
Yes, that's right.
And you mentioned also you're working with a startup company, so you're right at the beginning of that product life cycle. Now that's startups. Obviously there are people that with traditional products as well. So how do you need to adjust your business strategies to be able to, be at that stage where you can educate with the knowledge as to which elements need to be adapted and can be adapted and recycled to build the next generation of those consumable products that we all want?
With a lot of our customers, we do get involved in a very early stage. Thankfully, it wasn't always the case, but with education on that subject, we are engaging at a lot earlier stage. And one of the discussions that we have is what is their roadmap of the customer for his products. And they're already telling us that this product's only going to last 6 months and then we're going to replace it with another product followed by another product. And then when you start to say, well, what are the differences, it becomes very evident that, well, why are you replacing it? Bringing in this evolution of plastics that need to be replaced because all you're doing is doing very little functional changes, but cosmetic changes. And when you get down to it, it's the excitement of launching that I've got a new product and the sales that drives, rather than the upgrade element that you can replace that product for. You can still have the same functionality, but for a relatively a lot smaller cost.
So that's efficiency. We're talking about efficiency now here.
Yeah, I mean, there was an idea that went around a couple of years ago that, let's say a mobile phone, inside today we have a lot of chips and stuff like that, which evolve, but eventually products could become just a lump of something, and whatever the software that goes into there actually defines the capabilities of what that does. So there was that kind of idea where we can start to reuse hardware in different ways and have standard hardware that does different jobs. That kind of had a problem because nobody's been able to get to that level whereby they can define that kind of device. So we're still looking toward that as a way forward. Until then, we're kind of having to rely on the fact that through traceability of manufacturing and material sourcing, we can understand exactly what's in there, and we can attempt to then extract all of these rare and precious minerals when it comes out the other side, which is now getting cheaper. It is getting more viable. People are actually doing it and not just talking about it, but I sense that we're still got a long way to go.
Okay, and let me just touch on that finally, on the traceability issue, because and I'm bringing it back to the smart factories and the Industry 4.0. Do we see the same need of collaborating across functions in order to achieve what the circular economy needs to achieve? So, are we having to adhere to the same principles as the smart factory and Industry 4.0 when we're looking at the circular economy?
As we said earlier, that humans are humans. You do come across people that are extremely passionate about this subject and others that are just totally focused in a different direction. So what we're having to deal with here is different personnel with different objectives, and it's trying to pull those all together. So at this moment in time there is plenty of opportunity, but it's all about legislation, education, rather than the focus on the actual product itself.
I'm involved in traceability. I mentioned that. I'm part of the IPC Committee for Traceability Standards and also the Smart Factory. It's interesting, the kind of overlap between the two, because we talk about we want to have communication between machines, between processors in order to provide flexibility for Industry 4.0 to work and all of these kind of wonderful technologies. But that data that we do for that is the exact same data as we use for traceability. So actually in our smart factory, without any cost whatsoever additional to what you would want to do in a smart environment, you've got the methodology to put that data together in a traceability record and be able to then define for any end product exactly what went into that product. So instead of in the past, it was like a major problem to try and find out what was in there. Actually, now it's almost coming automatic. So smart factories, Industry 4.0, sustainability, circular economy, I do believe they're all related. I agree.
Okay, well, very interesting. Now we are running out of time, and I do want to see if we've got any questions from the audience, because it is, like we say, we love our planet. The planet is being good to us at the moment. We need to be good to it. And it's all our responsibility. So if I can just ask, is there anybody in the audience that would like to, or has a question for our panel? Just raise it. Okay, I'll just come over with a microphone.
Hi, my name is Eike van Vught. I have a question. Is circular economy, is that more a design problem or a manufacturing problem?
I would say it's both. As I said, the manufacturing personnel's involvement at the very early stages is absolutely paramount to achieve the end objective. And then it's the conviction and the passion of the designers to take whatever information has been provided on board and to be able to work in the right direction. It won't happen overnight. There's lots of steps to go through. But I think we should, between the two groups, we should be looking at a progression of improvement.
I think that I would categorize it as being mainly design, but not a problem. I would say it's an opportunity. Because, we all suspect that like the washing machines we buy that blow up after 2 or 3 years, shouldn't they have lasted a little bit longer? The designer can think about what is the expected life of a product. He can understand then the scope for recycling beyond that. Now, everybody in the industry, let's just take the example of washing machines. Somebody could come along and sell a nice cheap washing machine which anybody here could buy, and they would think it's great for 2 or 3 years. And, you know, that vendor would sell on price, and that's fine. But another vendor could come along and say, hey guys, I'm creating a washing machine which does exactly the same job as the other one, but this one's going to last 10 years. Now, I've designed it to look good for 10 years, to work fine for 10 years, even more than that. Now, are you going to pay a little bit more to have a washing machine that's designed for sustainability? And so you will find that in this day and age now in the market, I am sure that those people exist. In fact, I already believe that there are incentives to be able to provide that direction for design and manufacturing so that we are making sustainable products. Because there is a market for people who want to change very quickly, have the latest ones for a short time, but there are also a market for people who want to see something that's sustainable. So it's up to design and the product management to define where they want to be and use design to get to that goal.
Thank you very much. It's actually interesting. Are we driving it from the production side, or are we driving it from the customer side? Mm-hmm. And I'm guessing it's coming from both ways.
That's circular.
Yeah, that's the circular aspect of it. Mm-hmm. Thank you very much. I'm afraid I have to cut it short here and go into the next discussion, but great having you here. Thank you very much for your participation, and enjoy the rest of the show.